What?
In this video, I'm gonna talk about what the car. Between the ultra-serious AAA titles, the underfunded yet earnest indies, and the rebellious non-games, there is this. This UFO of a game. This absolute specimen of pure absurdity. This purified randomness. This penguin of doom. It looks up at me and it holds up a spork, anticipating my reaction. Remember the one scene in the movie Ratatouille? That scene in which the food critic takes one bite of his meal and he is sent on a journey into the center of the mind of his own childhood. All of his most cherished memories come to the surface and fill him with elation. What he is tasting right now is both an objectively wonderful dish and also the fruit of decades of collective memory. I am living through this precise sensation. I am being taken back to my childhood of watching slapstick comedy movies and stand-up comedians with a finely tuned setup and punchline routine. This was the rose-colored epoch in which everything felt simpler than the current trends of cringe comedy and cynical self-parody. My view is inherently biased, and I might as well just out and say it for the sake of getting some balls rolling. I can't watch comedy these days. They don't make me laugh. The new stand-up comedians chuckle nervously at their own punchlines and the sitcoms feel more painful than relatable. But I can watch reruns of Third Rock or 70s Show, and they'll still get a giggle out of me. I can watch the stand-up comedians from yester-yonder and still laugh at their material. But reruns are a finite supply, and the comedians I love are getting old and dying. For a little while, I don't need to care about this, because I have a car. I have a car with legs and feet. I have a car with too many wheels. I have a car that's ridiculously too long or too wide. I have a car with giraffes and fishtails. I have a car that represents a brainstorm of ideas, and some power that be kept every single one of them and challenged himself to take them as far as he could. Everyone involved could have fallen into the trap of not caring about it, but it didn't happen. This game cares. This game celebrates every completion and victory with a self-admitted childishness. This game is proud to be a child for a little while. Because there's nothing wrong with that. Because sometimes you want to watch a Smurfs episode or jump into the ball pit because you're a full-grown adult, major and vaccinated, and who the hell is gonna stop you? Sometimes you want to do something childish because you want to bask in your days of innocence. And you don't want the adult perspective to point out all the flaws. The music is already an earworm inside my head, and it's to a point that I catch myself humming it all day long without really thinking about it. The entire soundtrack is just one single tune, repeated over and over, but it's rearranged and remixed so that it's made to correspond to the theme and the action that's being presented. It's an incredibly simple idea, and it managed to land so well that I already know that my own mind is going to sing that song until I get sick and tired of it like a top 40 radio station. Controls involve a whatever button. That's it. The almighty magical whatever button will be used as a speed boost, a jump, a jetpack, a punch, a kick, a sneeze, or whatever else the situation calls for in the thematic at hand. It's pretty simple. Each level has one action on the all-purpose whatever button. Some levels don't even have an action on the whatever button. But press it anyway. It makes cool stuff happen sometimes. It's going to take about 6 hours to do a basic run-through of the first 9 episodes, and then you can tack on another 10 or so for the collectathon where you try to get all of the secrets and the gold medals. Your mileage is going to vary a lot. And that goes for just the base, because then you have weekly events that you can do, you have leaderboards that you can conquer, and as all online games are wont to do, will probably get cheated on harder than a Hollywood marriage. You have a level editor to make and publish your own levels into the wild, and a little bit of content is actually locked until you do publish a level of your own. The community aspect is a big part of the experience. You will get constant reminders that there is more to just completing the levels made by the studio and then packing the game box into the done category. It turns out that the base levels are not exactly levels. They are ideas. They are simplified examples of what can be done. There is even a weekly event specifically dedicated to teaching you how to make a level. And then it's up to you to make something out of the dozens of archetypes you have at your disposal. Because this isn't just one card game. This is an experience where every level feels like a different card game altogether. This is an 11-pound whole slab of game. It is an amalgamation, emulsified, liquefied, strained, and ultimately inexorably joined in a magnificent obelisk. The devil had no hand in the creation of this. The fact that this exists proves that Satan is either powerless upon mankind or ignorant to the wonders taking place in his kingdom. This is more than a game. It is a physical declaration of mankind's rebellion against the cold and uncaring universe. It is hubris subverted. I think it's fair to make a parallel to Trackmania because, of course, somebody is going to make one and we might as well address the comparison sooner or later. The premise is the same. Get to the finish line as quick as you can. But this game is for the people who want something looser than Trackmania's razor-sharp approach. This game is physics-based. You're gonna run into shenanigans that are not supposed to happen. You're gonna catch an explosive barrel at a weird angle and get sent across the map like a Source Engine ragdoll. You're gonna end up with wildly different results even if you make the same motions as closely as you can from one attempt to another. But at the same time, the medal system is forgiving. You can limp to the finish line after making every mistake in the world, and it turns out the game expected you to just make it to the end in the first place. It's all wrapped up into a vibe of youthful enthusiasm, without ever once infantilizing the experience. It's like finding your childhood toys in the back of a closet, and next thing you know, you and your mates are having an impromptu plastic bowling tournament between a couple rounds of plastic golf. Somebody put on a playlist, and it's crossfading from Scatman's World to Barbie Girl. You find an old candy packet from Dr. Dreadful's lab, and you all comment on how it's probably expired and unpalatable by now, and then you make the candy anyway. You reminisce about jokes from Radioactive, or the sheer badassery of that one episode in Satan where Sonic literally killed Dr. Robotnik. And then you're all gathered around somebody's cell phone after he finds the bit on YouTube, and you're all watching with nary a mind for the outside world. The moment is an ode to candy that is sweet and not bittersweet. It's a celebration of the freedom of our free time and of how leisure doesn't need to have an ulterior motive. It's a precious and carefree reprieve from the duties and responsibilities that pile up whether we want them or not. It's not lost on us that we're going through life by throwing our days like punches. All we're asking for is to hold on to our God-given right to keep on dreaming. In short, this game is recess.
No time to lose, and into an air.